Seconds to go. Start. This is an application filed under Section 11 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, read with paragraph 3 of the scheme framed by Honorable Chief Justice of India under Section 11 of the said Act for appointment of an arbitrator. It is the case of the petitioner that the parties had entered into an agreement. As per the agreement, the respondent non-applicant was to supply 12,000 empty metal scraps consisting of used rails to the petitioner applicant. The rate was fixed at USD 240 PMT and the total contract value was 3 million US dollars. The payment was to be made on DP basis within 4 to 7 days of receipt of documents in buyer's bank as mentioned in Article 14 of the agreement. Article 20 of the agreement provided for a penalty in case of failure late delivery of the materials. In accordance with the agreement, the applicant had sent to the non-applicant $1 million from time to time, but no material was received from the non-applicant. In the meantime, in anticipation of the receipt of the material, the applicant had already entered into an agreement for sale of the same. In spite of the repeated requests, the material was not sent by the non-applicant. Consequently, on 29th October 2009, the applicant sent a notice to the non-applicant seeking to refer the matter to arbitration in terms of the arbitration clause contained in Article 24 of the agreement, which reads as under: this contract is under the Polish law. The European Union member is only accepted any dispute arising from or in connection with the contract shall be settled through friendly negotiation. In case no settlement is reached, the dispute shall be submitted to district court in Spain and India for arbitration in accordance with its rules in effect at the time of applying for arbitration. The arbitral award is final and binding upon both parties. A perusal of the aforesaid clause indicates that the parties were at liberty to submit to the arbitration to an appropriate authority either in Spain or in India. By the aforesaid notice, the applicant has chosen to seek arbitration in India, in spite of the opportunity having been given to the non-applicant. They have not chosen to nominate any arbitrator. The office report indicates that the service of notice in this matter is complete. However, in spite of the notice having been served, none appears on behalf of the non-applicant. The arguments made in the petition have remained uncontroverted. The arbitration clause does not indicate as to whether the arbitration is to be referred to a sole arbitrator or more than one arbitrator. Learned counsel for the applicant submits that the applicant would be satisfied if the matter is referred to the sole arbitrator. He has also submitted that it would be appropriate to nominate a former judge of this court. In my opinion, there is a valid subsisting arbitration clause. The non-applicant seems to have prima facie acted in breach of the agreement. The dispute seems to have arisen out of a bona fide arrangement between the parties. The arbitration petition also seems to have been filed within limitation. In such circumstances, I allow this petition and refer the dispute raised in this petition or any other dispute that may become available to the parties to the sole arbitrator. The non-applicant shall be at liberty to raise any counterclaim if so advised. I hereby appoint Mr. Justice B.P. Singh, former judge of this court, as the sole arbitrator. The learned arbitrator shall be at liberty to fix his own remuneration and any other terms and conditions for the arbitration as deemed fit and proper at his sole discretion. The seat of the arbitration shall be in Delhi. However, the arbitrator may hold the arbitration proceedings at a place most convenient to the parties, either within India or outside India. In our country also, when the Criminal Procedure Code 1861 was enacted, it was silent about the compounding of offence. Subsequently, when the next code of 1872 was introduced, it mentioned about compounding in section 188 by providing the mode of compounding. However, it did not contain any provision declaring what offences were compoundable. The decision as to what offences were compoundable was governed by reference to the exception to section 214 of the Indian Penal Code. The subsequent code of 1898 provided section 345 indicating the offences which were compoundable, but the said section was only made applicable to compounding of offences defined and permissible under Indian Penal Code. The present code, which repeated the 1898 code, contains section 320 containing comprehensive provisions for compounding. A perusal of section 320 makes it clear that the provisions contained in section 320 and the various subsections is a code by itself relating to compounding of offence. It provides for the various parameters and procedures. Stop.